Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun and today I am here to give you my review of WandaVision Episode 8 Previously On. This was a doozy. I've seen some people complain about that it doesn't push the narrative forward enough. I've seen some people complain that it's just exposition. Which on one hand, I do see what they're talking about. Because it's a flashback episode. But a lot of people had predicted they were going to do an episode like this. They just didn't know where the placement would be of it. And it makes sense here because it's like, it's stocking you up and getting you ready for the events to come and giving context to everything that's come before. This episode to me, maybe, I'm not sure, because I'm going to go back and watch this show all over again. But this episode might be my favorite because of the emotions that were in it. The fact that it did so much for the MCU. Because it did so much for the MCU and this, like, that's the thing. People are real short framed. They're just real. They got like these short attention spans. They want the go. And like, but this episode was calm, cool, collected, and it just dove into the emotions of what Wanda has been going through. But even more to that fact, it added more context to everything in the MCU, to every scene in the MCU that Wanda has been a part of. It adds more context to Vision and how Vision and Wanda fell in love. It adds more context to why Wanda would feel the need to join Hydra in the first place. It adds more context to why Wanda was unique and why Wanda and her brother were unique and somehow survived the encounter with the stone. It adds more context. It adds so much context to the show and why she likes and why it was all sitcom land. It adds context of why she's even in Westview in the first place. It adds so much context and it enriches the MCU. This episode did more for the MCU than than the entirety of every other episode in the show. Because it made all that stuff better. Now when I go back and watch Age of Ultron, I watch it with the image of actually seeing Wanda and her brother being trapped under their bed as this bomb's ticking off, and they don't know if it's gonna go off and kill them or not. Now when I go back and watch Civil War, when Wanda and Vision are having their interactions, I get to have this extra scene there that shows me the initial interaction. You can almost, put that scene in the beginning of Age of Ultron now, like before the movie even starts. You can almost put that scene there, and now you can just make it a part of the whole. So like their interactions don't even feel like, because I know some people said their interactions felt kind of with that scene what Vision did when they were sitting on the bed, it was right after Age of Ultron, and they were having a conversation, and Vision had like the line of the MCU. So far, this is the early days. This is the first MCU project in the new phase. But so far, this is already probably in the top one of my favorite quotes in the MCU. Now, Vision had some very profound quotes anyways. I loved his quote in Age of Ultron when he was talking to Ultron, and he just said, a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. Like, I love that quote. I love that quote in Age of Ultron. A thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. And now he has another quote in this. What is grief but love persevering? Which is a beautiful freaking quote, because it is true on a lot of levels. Like, to feel those kind of emotions, to feel grief and stuff like that, or hate, it has to come from a place, like, it means it has to come from a place where love once was. Which means that love is still in your heart. It's why you're grieving so bad. So what is grief but love persevering? What is grief but the memory of love? And that's a really interesting way to contextualize and just like kind of just show a different side of it, just like looking at it from a different lens. Because like he said in that in the part when him and Wanda are sitting down talking, like, I never had anyone, so I can kind of look at this as an outsider, people going through their emotions, and kind of have an observation of it and be like, I feel like that is what this is, what is grief but love persevering? And I dug that. But the episode in whole was, it started off with Agatha Harkness at the Salem witch trials. Now, we as comic book people know that Agatha Harkness is like in the comics, she's like a 1,000-year-old witch who just got, she's like she's hundreds of years old. and she's about to get burned at the stake at Salem, and she got saved by Mephisto. That's what happened in the comics. But in this, she's about to get killed. Like, it was in Salem, and she was about to get killed, but it was not by witch hunters. It was by her own coven. And they did some de-aging stuff on Catherine Hahn, which Catherine Hahn's already a beautiful woman. Even whatever age she is, she's already a beautiful woman. But they de-aged her. Like, maybe it just worked out because she's already beautiful, that de-aging her made it easier. I have heard that that they have an easier time. Like, I'm not trying to say that they have a harder time with ugly people, but it's not a coincidence that Kurt Russell, like they said, Kurt Russell has perfect bone structure, and they said, oh yeah, the de-aging technology was so easy to do on him because he has perfect bone structure. I'm saying Catherine Hahn has perfect bone structure, like facial bone structure. So it probably made the whole de-aging a lot easier, because it really did look like she was like some 20-year-old Catherine Hahn. Like, it really did, really pull it off. Like, I didn't even notice it until someone brought it up, and I was like, oh my goodness, it does look like a young Catherine Hahn. And like, it wasn't weird or nothing. It just looked like a young Catherine Hahn. But turns out Agatha was dabbling in dark magics. We don't know what. We don't know why. But she was dabbling in dark magics, and the other witches in the coven did not like it at all, including her mother, who seemed to be the queen of the witches. So they were going to execute her. And it seems like the MCU is setting up new rules for magic, or at least expanding it. Like, maybe not setting new rules, but expanding magic. Like the fact of the matter is, there are witches now. Not just sorcerers, witches. So, clearly the MCU is expanding the parameters of what magic is. And they tried to kill Agatha. It did not go their way. And she sucked the life out of them like it was brutal, man. Like, they hit all those witches tried to shoot energy at her at the same time, and then all of a sudden her purple energy came out and just killed all of them. And like sucked their essence, and they just fell to the ground. They were just husks. It was really creepy looking. And, her mom, and then like, there's this kind of scene that hints that maybe Agatha can relate with Wanda, because it's hard to tell in that opening scene. I've kind of gone back and forth. If she is heartless and she's just like saying these things, because at a certain point she said, like, she's begging for her life. She's like, mother, help me. And at a certain point, the queen, at a certain point, she's like, I can be good. And her mother's like, no, you can't. With like, kind of like choked up, no, you can't. Actually tries to kill her, but doesn't work on her either. Mother ends up dying too. And it's hard to tell if she genuinely doesn't care and she's just saying these things, because she walks up on her mother and takes the brooch that she wears in the show that you see a lot. But it's hard to tell if she doesn't give a crap about her mother and the coven, or if she simply just went, well, screw you guys then. You guys don't want to listen to me. You guys want to kill me. Well, screw all you guys. I'm going to kill all of you. All right. And take your power and make it my own and go on about my business. But that is the opening. So you get to see a little bit insight into Agatha. But really, this whole opening scene with Agatha talking to Wanda, because it kind of takes place immediately after what the events of 7. It's just really, you discover why Agatha's here. And a lot of people were speculating that maybe Agatha was controlling it all along. No. As it turns out, Agatha came in, the bubble was already up before she got there. She came into the only reason she came to the bubble is because when Wanda made the bubble, according to Agatha, she cast so many spells on such a massive scale that it was like fire. It's like, think about this. It'd be like being in the middle of the fucking woods and fireworks go off like nearby. That's basically what it would be like for witches and stuff. It's like this huge freaking wave of freaking magical energy that, like, on a scale they had never seen before, just boom out of nowhere. And of course, and according to Agatha, she came there to figure out how she's doing that. And that's really what's going on here. And we discover through this too that Agatha is a trained witch. She said she's had hundreds of years of training, and that Wanda is not. And like, it's something that's been brought. It's something that's been kind of in the background that's never really been mentioned, because we never really understood Wanda's abilities. But in the comic books, it's weird too, because in the comic books, she's a mutant, but her powers are magical. So she's a mage, but she's also a mutant. It doesn't quite always make a lick of sense. That character, Scarlet Witch, is weird and doesn't always make sense. But I did dig the idea of, like, because she tried to use her, because at one point Wanda tried to use her magic, and she's like, and Agatha was like, do you not know what these symbols up here mean? And they're runes, they're protection spells. Like, you didn't even know that? Like, you didn't know what you were walking into? And I kind of dug that, because it was like, yeah, she's like, you don't know the basics? And it's like, yeah, Wanda doesn't know the basics. Which kind of leads credence to her being trained in Doctor Strange by Doctor Strange, because she doesn't know these kind of basic things. But I don't know, does Doctor Strange know about the know about witches? 'Cause witches weren't mentioned in Doctor Strange. And it's very clear too in the MCU that they're expanding the parameters of magic, because witches don't do the same, use the same things that sorcerers do. They don't have sling rings. Their magic is blue. They just do chants, and they just do traditional, incantations, and then like do stuff. Like they don't have to like have like I said, they don't have to have the sling ring and do all that stuff. So it seems like they're expanding the parameters of what magic is, which they were already doing in Infinity War and Endgame, really, because Doctor Strange was using the sling ring a lot less in Infinity War. Like, he was using it in the beginning, but when he started getting to some of the hardcore stuff, he really wasn't using the sling ring. So maybe they'll have, like, the MCU really has been trying to go, like, expand the parameters of what magic is in the MCU. But yeah, like I said, like, the witches, they seem to have to do traditional stuff. But anywho, she tries to, it's sort of kind of hinted to that Pietro might not be real, but I'm not gonna, I'm gonna hold off on that, because I'm going to talk about that in another video. But yeah, man, it's kind of hinted that Pietro might not be real, and it's also kind of hinted to, while she's talking to her, that basically, like, she was just sitting there biding her time. That basically, Agatha was waiting for Wanda to just reveal herself. She was like, oh, I was going to wait for you to reveal yourself, but you're taking too damn long. That's basically what she said. You're taking too damn long to do that, so I had to make quick action. And now, I'm going to have to force you out of your slump. So she takes a piece of her hair, really Doctor Strange style, by the way. I didn't see a lot of people mentioning that, but the whole taking the hair and like doing this incantation and then you like open up a portal, like that's real Doctor Strangey. But so she ends up sending Wanda down memory lane. Now Wanda had to relive her most tragic moments, and the first moment was her as a child with her parents. You get to see her parents, you get to see the loving environment that the parents were attempting to at least have inside of their doors. I mean, because at a certain point, her mom looks out the window and people are shooting at each other with assault rifles. And unfortunately, there are places like that. There are places like that in the world where, like, people are just trying to survive and stay out of this, war that's going on right outside their window. And at any moment, something could go off and kill them. And they just live in fear every day. And that's a true thing, man. There are places like that. Seth was telling me about places like that yesterday. That's just the life for them. That's the reality for them. It's like just hoping that you don't have, like, that the war doesn't get too close to you, and you just trying to raise your kids the best you can. But and it really kind of came off, and it was so sad because you knew it was gonna happen, but they really made you care about that. Turns out the father sold DVDs. He sold DVDs. He sold classic DVDs. He sold like Dick Van Dyne and Bewitched and all these kind of DVDs. I Love Lucy. He sold all these DVDs, and whatever he wouldn't sell, he'd bring back home to watch with his family. And Wanda loved all the sitcom stuff. It was kind of her escape from all the shit that's going on outside. It was her escape. It was her release from all the madness that was going on outside, and it was great but you knew it was gonna happen. And when the bomb goes off, it's so sad because they were in a really good moment. The bomb goes off. Wanda is next to her brother. They're terrified. The Stark bomb, boom, lands, and it's like, okay, so this is the scene. But they do something. They hint to something. Well, they pretty much confirm something. I'm not gonna joke. They confirm something. Is that Wanda always had magical abilities. Because now we know. That's why I say it changes everything. Like, when you go back and watch these movies, it kind of recontextualizes everything. Now we know the bomb, that wasn't a faulty Stark bomb. Because that was the whole story was, the bomb's faulty, didn't go off, lucky you guys. No. Wanda put a probability spell on that bomb, and it did not go off because she didn't let it go off. Basically, they didn't have to sit, the story is true. They did sit there with a bomb for 2 days, but only because Wanda didn't know she had defused it. She didn't know that. She like I said, at the time, she was just doing, she was young, she subconsciously did it. So it means that Wanda always had powers from the very beginning. And then we head on to the Hydra Experiments. And the Hydra Experiments with the Mind Stone. And there's this amazing sequence where the Mind Stone breaks open and you see the the yellow stone inside of it, and like it just like this huge light happens, and this amazingly picturesque silhouette of Scarlet Witch in her actual true Scarlet Witch costume, but it's like a silhouette is like appears in front of her. It's like she saw her future self. It was a really awesome sequence. Then we get to the sequence I was just talking about earlier with her talking to Vision, which was an emotionally really, really good sequence. Then we get to the sequence with Hayward at the base where Hayward was saying that she stole Vision's body. Turns out she did not steal Vision's body. Turns out all he was doing was doctoring the footage so that he can do whatever the hell he wanted to do. So of course, go figure. Turns out Hayward's a liar. But on top of that shit, there was one scene. I have not seen a lot of people talking about this either. Have not seen enough people talking about this. It was very emotional. It was very heart-wrenching because I remember it being emotional in Infinity War. At one point, she goes down after, talking to Hayward and Hayward talking his dumb shit. Even though I do respect Hayward for saying, like, bruh, Vision's worth $3 billion and $3 billion. We're not going to just let you take him and put him in the ground. But I do kind of go, yeah. But I will say, there was a scene where she walks up to Vision, she puts her hand over his head, where the, hole is now, and she says, I can't feel you. And she cries. And it hit me because because if you remember in Infinity War, that was like their love line basically. In the first moment you see them, he's like, what do you feel? And he's like, I just feel you. And they kiss. And in the end, when she has to kill him, he says, I'm not afraid, I just feel you. And right now, she can't feel him. Oh, that was amazing. That was amazing. Elizabeth Olsen's such an amazing actress. I mean, I already knew that, but still, she's fucking fire. Anywho, she goes on, she doesn't take the body. Boom. That's right there. You knew something was up. You knew something was wrong. You're like, what the fuck? She did not take that body. She walks off. She gets in the car. There's a letter next to her. She drives to Westview, the real Westview, which is this just shabby looking town, by the way. It's a shabby looking town. She drives to this plot where it looks like a house used to be, but a house isn't. It's just, nothing really there. She takes out the letter, and it says, to grow old in, V. Vision had bought this land, thinking that in Infinity War, that they were going to go run off together, go be in this town, and grow old together. Go old together. And she never got the chance to. And at that moment, it was already Tear City. It was already freaking sad. Like, the whole episode was sad. But that was a kicker. And at that moment, she snapped, unleashed the power, and created the whole illusion we know now. And in the end, Agatha Harkness reveals, I know what you are. You are a Scarlet Witch. But the way she said it was like she might be a major threat. But I might talk about that in another video as well. And we get this post-credit scene, this beautiful post-credit scene with freaking Vision back. White Vision. Silver, like, West Coast Avengers Vision. Which, like, short note, in the comics, at one point, Vision gets destroyed, completely destroyed, and he has to be rebuilt. But since they can't get the fucking dude who they base Vision's brainwaves off of, they have to just rebuild him with the parts. And when they rebuilt him, he came back all white and with no emotions and no love in his heart. He was just kind of a white robot who was just pragmatic and did pragmatical things. And that's exactly what they did here. They freaking Hayward brought Vision back online. And all they needed was a little bit of source power. That fucking drone that Wanda like freaking tossed out of there that had all that energy still around it. They used that to power up Vision, and Vision came online. He had these weird crystally eyes, and he looked at his hand. And oh man, it's gonna be fucking intense next episode. But thank you guys for my comment game movie show. Oh what? I would give this episode a 10. I'd give this episode a 10. I loved it. I loved it from top to bottom. Enjoyed the hell out of it. I've seen it multiple times. I loved it. Thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.